evening. My name is John Mellie. We have three individuals on the 17th floor in room 1701. It is an apartment. The Staskos have rented this apartment for several years, and we have discovered that all three are deceased. Mrs. Stasko died as a result of a gunshot wound to the right rear portion of her right ear side, back of the head. Young Mellie Stasko was also shot, also towards the back side of the head along the left ear, and it appears that Michael Stasko was the individual that fired the shot into his wife and to his 8-year-old daughter, and then took his own life by placing the gun underneath his chin and firing it. All three of them are or were within the bed in the couple's bedroom. It is definitely apparent to us that the shootings took place in the bed. We're pretty comfortable that Mr. Stasko was the one that fired the weapon, but we certainly will have to go through certain technical review of information and evidence that we're obtaining at the scene. But based upon at least the apparent methodology of what happened, it was Mr. Stasko that did this. How Edgewater police found out, at approximately 7:09 p.m. tonight, Edgewater police received a phone call from a man in Missouri, and claiming that his sister, Mrs. Stasko, and her family were to have driven to Missouri for the holiday today. They were to have arrived approximately 1 o'clock today. The Stasko family did not arrive, therefore he became somewhat concerned and called Edgewater PD at 7:09 p.m. tonight. Upon doing a welfare check, Edgewater discovered the three bodies in the bedroom. The weapon was a .45 caliber weapon with hollow point bullets. Right now there does not appear to be any New Jersey firearm purchaser authorization for the weapon, except it should be noted that the Staskos just recently, within the past few years, moved here from New York, so it is possible that the weapon may have been obtained in New York and brought here. Mr. Stasko is in the watch business. He sells watches. We do not know at this point in time why we believe Mr. Stasko shot both his wife and his daughter. Obviously, this just happened, or we just discovered it. We know that it occurred, however, at least a day and a half ago. We haven't pinpointed the time yet, but it occurred sometime either in the evening hours of the 22nd or the early morning hours of the 23rd. There's some things that we've got to look into yet before we can get a more definitive time, but we do know, based upon the temperatures of the bodies, that the three had been in that bedroom for quite some time until they were discovered this evening at 7:09. It is always troubling when an 8-year-old child is murdered this way. Right now, we do not know any motive. We don't know whether it's financial. We don't know whether it is familial. We don't know really what was perhaps going through Mr. Stasko's mind for him to do this. But there is no evidence of foul play. There's no forced entry. There does not appear to be any reason to suspect that a fourth party was involved in this and perhaps may have set this up. Questions?
Prosecutor, none of the other neighbors in the building made any kind of call reporting the sound of 3 gunshots?
We have been canvassing, and so far we have no one that has indicated that they heard any shots. We're looking into the possibility that, through the playing of loud music, that might have been a reason why people didn't hear it, but we're still looking into that. A towel or a blanket was used at the front of the weapon, which would at least help to silence the sound somewhat, although a .45 caliber weapon is a rather loud one, and with 3 shots being fired, you would think that. But we're going to continue to canvass this entire building to see if somebody did hear something.
Was there music playing when you entered the apartment?
No music was playing at the time. We have a report of a complaint of loud music. We're not even certain right now whether it came from this apartment or another apartment, but we're actually looking into that to suggest that perhaps maybe he may have turned the music up loud. There's a lot that we don't know yet. Autopsies will be done on all 3. We'll have a more definitive understanding to make sure of how close the weapon was when it was fired. As of a half hour ago, the bodies had not even been moved yet, so I don't know often we can get a lot of information once we examine the body. So it's going to take a few days. It's Friday, but I would say sometime Monday or Tuesday we might have more information on that.
Was there any kind of
evidence that?
No, nothing. So far we haven't seen anything that would explain why this happened.
Is there any evidence that either of the two victims attempted to defend themselves, to put up some sort of fight?
Question is there evidence that any either Mrs. Stasko or young Mellie may have defended themselves? It does not appear that way. We believe that the shootings took place while both Mrs. Stasko and young Mellie were actually lying in bed. Right now, that's what we believe. It is also possible that it took place while they were both sleeping. We're not positive of that yet, but probably sometime midweek next week we will have a better idea of that.
Is there any kind of DV history that you're aware of?
No, we're not aware of any type of, when I said familial issue, there doesn't appear to be anything that would give anyone reason to shoot not only the wife, but certainly the 8-year-old. One always has to wonder what would possess anyone to do that, an innocent 8-year-old girl, and I'm hopeful that we'll find out the reason, because she deserves at least the public to understand what happened here. It's always troubling.
Did a family member in Missouri give any indication of some trouble in the family?
I don't want to say what they're telling us in Missouri, but I can say right now that at this point in time we had no indication of any type of financial issues, legal issues, criminal or civil or otherwise. I'm doing this 14 years, and whenever you see an 8-year-old lying in a bed and she's dead, we try to find answers right away, and we will try to find answers on this one, because it's troubling. It is.
Prosecutor, Mr. Stasko's profession, do you know what he
Mr.? Yeah, he sold watches. His company name is Audemars, A-U-D-M-A-R-S, M&M Inc. Specialized in making watches. You're also going to find that he had a particular niche specialty, making watches for either people in law enforcement or people that supported a law enforcement foundation. And I'm not telling you anything you won't find when you check it out online. So I know that that was his business. I'm told that it's possible that the wife may have been in a prior business herself, but we're not sure of that right now.
When the family called, I mean, I guess they were late to get to their
It was Mrs. Stasko's brother from Missouri that called Edgewater PD at 7:09 p.m.
Is the fact that they called the police, I mean, does that indicate that they knew something could be wrong because of some history?
No, that might be on me. I might not have made it clear. They were to have arrived in Missouri at 1 o'clock today. When they did not arrive at 1 o'clock, they started to make phone calls to the cell phones of both Mr. and Mrs. Stasko. By 7:09 p.m., when they hadn't heard anything, that's when they notified Edgewater PD. Sorry about that. That might have been.
Can you describe the room a little bit? Was there a Christmas tree? Were there presents? What did this look like? What did this scene look like?
First of all, it is a luxury apartment. I don't know what the rental is, but I know, as you can see from the outside of the building, the inside is very similar. It's a lovely apartment, well kept. There was a Christmas tree. There were presents under the tree. Very neatly kept apartment, but no indication of anything inside, other than, of course, evidence that Mr. Stasko was operating his watch business out of the apartment. We obviously saw a lot of purchase orders, purchase receipts, phone messages, and also quite a few watches as well.
This might sound kind of strange, but were any of the presents for the young girl, and were they from the Michael Stasko?
I did not actually look at that, so I really can't answer that, but there were things in the apartment that would give one the indication that Mellie Stasko looked very lovingly upon her father. You see some cards and some holiday cards, so it would appear that at least from the 8-year-old standpoint, she very much loved her father, which obviously is yet further reason that we have to kind of figure this out. You never get used to these types of cases. Fortunately, I've had very few of them, but they're always troubling when we have them. And for her sake, we'll get to the bottom of it hopefully very soon.
Prosecutor, you mentioned that the gun did not appear to be registered to Mr. Slasko.
No, I didn't say that. I said that there's nothing in New Jersey that would indicate either a firearm purchaser ID or anything else right now. It is possible that he might have purchased lawfully the gun in New York and then brought it over here to New Jersey. But right now there doesn't appear to be anything showing ownership of the gun here in New Jersey.
Serial number is intact?
Well, yes it is, and we are searching it, and so far it's going to take some time, but I'm sure we'll ascertain the origin of the gun. It's quite possible he purchased it in New York and just never bothered to do what he has to do in New Jersey once he brought it here.
Did he have identification on him, his wallet, everything was intact?
It appears that they were dressed for bed, so he would not have had clothes on, but I don't know. We didn't actually move the bodies up until the moment in time when I came out to talk to all of you, so I don't know generally what he has underneath the covers. They are partially covered in the bed, but that doesn't necessarily tell us anything right now.
As for him, what was he wearing?
A t-shirt. I couldn't tell what he was wearing below the waist, but a t-shirt. Both Mrs. Stasko and young Mellie most definitely appeared to be in what you would wear to go to bed, pajamas or evening wear. So that might give us an indication of either late night, early morning, but also could be an afternoon nap. We really don't know. So, all right, this is a great town, Edgewater. Obviously, the public shouldn't be alarmed at all. We feel this is clearly a local situation here that took place in the apartment, and I wish you all a very Merry Christmas.
Just to clarify briefly,
Yes.
it is Stasko with a T.
Stasko with a T, S-T-A-S-K-O. And I gave you the dates of birth. I gave you the weapon used. It was the brother, Mrs. Stasko's brother from Lee Summit, Missouri, that called. And I gave you the company name, and it was 7:09 p.m. By the way, it was not a forced entry. The superintendent of the building allowed Edgewater police into.
Oh, it's a 45 caliber what?
Handgun.
Handgun.
Yeah.
Thank
Possibly semi-automatic, but we'll have ballistics take a look at it. But hollow point bullets. Gun was loaded. We haven't fully examined it yet at this point. I mean, we just were able to get the search warrant done for us to be able to move the bodies. Bodies, I think, have now been removed from the building out the back, and they'll have an autopsy done sometime beginning tonight and into tomorrow morning.
Do you know what kind of handgun?
I do not.
What's the model of the gun?
I do not. I don't know that right now. I know it's 45 caliber, but that's all I know about it right now.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, prosecutor.